Hey, Jeff here. I'm back for more fun. But before we get into some of the recent records that have come in, a couple of things I wanted to mention that I have been involved in recently. Maybe you'd be interested. Who knows? But a couple weeks ago, I did one of my subscribers that watches this had started with a friend of his a podcast called the Headbangers Lounge podcast, where they were talking about some of the various bands they like. And one of the bands that they are big fans of, aside from Kiss, is Stryper. And since they know I like Stryper and they've seen my videos on Stryper, etc., they invited me to be a special guest on one of their shows, where they break down and discuss Stryper's first album, the EP on Black Attack. Basically, what they do is it's sort of like a ranking where each member on the panel, which in this case was the three of us, we go through each individual song, we talk about our likes and dislikes, and then we rank it based on, a 1 to 10 scale. And when done, they combine that, divide by the number of songs, and give it an average, and etc. So it's kind of just a way to discuss albums that we love. Interestingly enough, the guys that do this show are younger, and I'm like the old guy, but they only recently discovered Stryper and some of those bands, and so it kind of gives a different perspective when I was on there because I lived through that era. Well, they had the videos on a different channel. It's a podcast, but they convert it to like an animated video type thing with clips and things and pictures. It was on a different page, but they just recently launched their own page, the Headbangers Lounge podcast page. Put the videos up there. There's 3 so far, 2 on Stryper, 1 on Kiss. I have a link below. Check it out, and maybe you would like to subscribe to and listen along. Now, today, I just got done with doing another show with them. One of the DJs from the show, DJ from the show, one of the co-hosts of the show he's dropped off from the show, and so he asked me to come on, the other guy. And today we did a breakdown and discussion of everybody's favorite Motley Crue album, Theater of Pain. It's not posted yet. It'll probably be posted in the upcoming days. So you will want to subscribe to their channel and keep an eye for that. And again, we break it down, look at it song by song, likes, dislikes, and we discuss the album as a whole and rank it. Now, I have been slated to appear again on another episode, and we think that we're probably going to do a video rather than just a audio podcast that gets converted. So check it out if you're interested. I think the next time we're talking about the Psycho Circus by Kiss, and that'll be in a couple weeks. But check that out. Now, the other thing is, speaking of Stryper a second ago, is a couple weeks ago I was invited, also because of my channel, I guess, people who watch here, to be on an episode of Stryper Drive. Stryper Drive is a YouTube channel dedicated to Stryper, and they've had people on like authors of biographies for Stryper, people who have been involved in the band, keyboard players. They've had all kinds of people, and people like me who have just been, I was representing kind of like, Heaven's Metal, the magazine, people who, your history of how you knew Stryper, and just, it's kind of a discussion. It's a video Zoom type call with the 2 hosts and then myself. So that just got posted yesterday. Link below if you want to watch that also. So, I've been doing some other things with some other people, and it's been enjoyable. But for today, let's get into just a couple of the albums that I had gotten recently. The last video or 2 that I had talked about, the Super Metal Sunday, there was one album that was waiting to come in, and it finally came in, and that is Masterpieces by Hammerfall. If you're not familiar with this particular release from a couple years ago, Hammerfall have Euro power metal from Europe type, one of those typical power metal bands. One of my favorites, though, been favorite since album 1. They have as bonus tracks and on B-sides, and as bands do, they've had cover tunes from all kinds of different bands. They put them all together on this double vinyl set and CD set also. They put them all together, added a couple of new songs that were unreleased, and released this. And I found a guy was selling it for really cheap. It is just on typical black wax, but it's got some great tunes that they've covered on here, as you can see. Songs by bands like Warlord. Now, if singer from here also from Hammerfall joined Warlord when they did that one album a few years ago, so they do a Warlord song. Storm Witch. There's some bands in here I don't know so much. Pretty Maids, Halloween, Rainbow, Accept, Heavy Load, Twisted Sister, Judas Priest, Chastain, Rising Force, Kiss, Loudness, some other bands, Roger Puncher, Riot, Skid Row, Europe. Great stuff. Cover tunes in a Euro power metal type feel. So that finally came in. That is the end of the stuff that I purchased from the Heavy Metal Sunday. Now, one of the albums that popped up, actually, was just somebody that showed it on that channel. And I said, you know, there's a copy of that in my local store, but he seems to be asking a little too much for it. And it got me thinking, let me go check online. So I went to Discogs and decided to place an order for it because it was like half the price of the local store. Wasted, Say Your Prayers. Now, this is a great album. I'm a big Wasted fan. Wasted, Pete Way, etc., etc. I'm a big Wasted fan, and this is a great album. But I will say it's probably not, in my opinion, a great Wasted album. This is like the only, I believe this is the only one album where they changed singers and changed directions. And this is a commercial, very commercial metal type, of the day. Think the heavier, whatever, just a typical power music of the time. Whereas the other singer is a little more gritty, and Finn on all the other releases is a little more of a gritty bite. And this is very much more melodic. It's a great album. Like I say, it's a melodic, what you would call melodic or metal, kind of glam, hard rock, whatever you want to call it. Typical stuff of the time frame, which was, I guess, was this in the 90s, I believe? I don't even want to try to look at it without my glasses. So yeah, I wanted to get this. It's a great album. I've had it on like an import CD for a long time. I do want to get all the rest of the catalog because I do prefer the other, because the singer left, they put this album out, and then the singer comes back. So you've got a handful of albums before this one that I really enjoy, and then you got a handful of albums after this where he came back and they did some more stuff. But I wanted to have this, and it was a good price, and the guy brought it to mind when he showed it on there. So, and the same person who had that, again, you go to Discogs and you're like, well, this guy also selling this. You're paying the shipping, you might as well get another album. Rough Cut Wants You. This is actually a gold stamp promo. The second Rough Cut album, I just didn't have it on vinyl. I really, really loved the first one, and I really liked the second one. There was really only 2 albums in the live album that they kind of released. I've always been perplexed by this cover artwork because to me, it just looks so disproportionate. Her legs are like way too long for her body. They just don't look right. And then she's got like no butt. They drew like no butt. It's flat butt. Legs are way too long. It just seems weird. It's the weirdest looking artwork, but it's a great album. Don't judge a book by its cover. And like I said, it's a gold stamp promo. So anyway, just wanted to share that great stuff. Again, links below for those shows that I was on if you're interested in checking them out. If you're a Striper fan or a Motley Crue fan, you can hear what we had to say, ranting and raving and talking and having fun with these albums. Thanks a lot for watching, though, and I will see you later. Rock on and rock hard.